I've decided to speak on some social issues which bother me very deeply. And when I look at the world around and I read about it, I'm very disheartened at how much people don't care and they just show as if they care. There is a Russia and Ukraine war going on, and I think a lot of countries are trying to broker some peace, or they are trying to make the war end between Russia and Ukraine. And then, yesterday there is a news where Donald Trump is saying Biden will very successfully lead the world to the third world war. Either that, or he said we are all headed to third world war. He may not have said Biden. He may just have said that we are all headed for a third world war. So, I am a very big fan of Donald Trump. I've never lived in US. I've never worked for him. I did not cast any vote for him to become a president or anything. But I'm just a very big fan of Donald Trump. And the reason is I used to watch The Apprentice a lot. And someone will say, but that was just a reality show. Half the things are cooked up or they are shown in a certain way. See, it's not about what they're fibbing, or if they're lying about something, or they're making you believe something. It is how good were his decisions. He made some very high quality, good decisions. And then he did falter at a lot of places. And when he was the president, he actually understood a lot of problems and he was trying to curb those problems for the US. So, when he says that the world is headed towards the third world war, I completely believe him. I see it coming as well because, if you don't end a certain conflict, it gets bigger, bigger, and if more people join in, it even gets even more bigger. So, then the conflict is not coming to an end, and then everybody can start fighting or join the fight. But I want to say something about America also. I believe America offers a lot of good life to people who live there or are citizens or the American people, and it gives um, opportunity to become successful, which may not be found in a lot of countries. Now, when US is trying to mediate, or even some other countries are trying to mediate between Russia and Ukraine war, I'm just thinking these countries which are trying to mediate are actually more concerned about themselves than the larger good. See, I'll take an example here. If, let's say, you cleaned your house and you have a garbage which needs to be disposed of, and the only way you can dispose of the garbage is that you do something about it in your house. So you will either burn it, or you'll dug up some place and you will start to throw your garbage there. So you will do something about it, or you will maybe find a place where you can throw the garbage. Everybody can collectively throw the garbage. Now let us talk about America and all the countries who pile up their toxic and plastic waste or garbage, loads it into so many ships, and then sends it to India for dumping, or Indonesia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and offers some money in return to that country. It's been happening for more than 4 5 decades, and it is still continuing. There was one report where in Africa a ship landed, I believe from some first world developed country, and it had only slippers in it, plastic slippers, or the rubber slippers that people wear, bathroom slippers. And the ship was loaded with so many slippers that the African who took the consignment of the garbage, he has made some statues out of that plastic or rubber slippers. So they have a rubber slipper giraffe, rubber slipper castle. So he's made a fairyland out of that garbage, or some fairyland, or some animals, or some statues, or castles out of that garbage. And it's piles and piles of garbage. It doesn't go away. You can't really dispose it of so quickly, and it's all coming. It's coming. More is coming. So, when I say first world countries, I'm not just talking about the Western countries, I'm also talking about the oil producing countries. All the rich nations are doing this. So, I don't know who's doing it, but there are countries who are dumping their garbage in some other country as if it is a dumpster or a garbage can, or that country is a garbage country, and they're going on throwing garbage in my country. So, what decision can the Western society or any society make, or arrive at any successful conclusion, if it continues to dump garbage, their garbage, in some other country? Nobody just throws their garbage in the neighbor's house. That, okay, I have garbage, I don't want to burn it or dispose it, or I can't dispose it, so let me just throw it in the neighbor's house. Nobody does that. So, what is your mind and decision making when you're throwing garbage in some other country? And that is exactly the reason why they're not putting an end to plastic, because they keep using so much plastic, and then they fill the ships and they send it to these poor countries. And India happens to be one of them, and I'm from India. I have a problem with it. And I also have a problem with how much or how successfully will they solve any problem in the world when you're so abusive by nature. And it is not just the US or the Western countries who are throwing the garbage. I will put the equal responsibility of abuse and lack of mindfulness on the oil producing nations who give so much oil, or whatever, petrol, diesel, to these countries. to take the ships full of garbage to dump it in some other country? Why are they not controlling it? It is your garbage, keep it in your country. You can't dispose it off, then you can sleep on it, sit on it, and do whatever you want to do on it. You don't get to dispose it in my country or any other poor country. If you don't have this much common sense, how are you trying to resolve a big conflict like Ukraine and Russia? You can't resolve it. And I don't even trust if anybody is trying to resolve it. I think they're just thinking, where are we better off? And who should win or whose side should we take so that we are better off? You're just thinking about yourself. So, if someone says, then what is possibly the solution? See, I believe that if people are intended right, I'll just take an example though of those rubber slippers, which came in a huge consignment to that African country, or the buyer who bought that garbage for a price, and is damaging his environment. That US, along with every other country in the world, even the oil producing billionaire nations, even third world countries, fourth world countries, fifth world countries, all countries need to make a law on what all and how much you can have. This is the only way to start to contain the garbage in the world, because they're going on dumping it in other countries. For example, you can only have one pair of slippers, one pair of sport shoes. You can only have 10 or 15 set of clothes. You can't throw away clothes by just wearing them once or wearing them twice. We need to contain the rich as well as the rich nations to then be able to solve the conflict at a larger scale, which is Ukraine and Russia. Otherwise, I completely agree with Donald Trump that this world is headed for a third world war, and it will happen.